Gates Adams here on behalf of Apex Trader Funding, and I am back with Sahil. We had a chance to speak a few months ago. Was that your first payout when we last spoke?
Yeah, it was my first payout in November.
Okay, so now we've had a few months go by, and now I understand we've had a few more payouts since then. So again, first of all, I want to congratulate you on your continued success. So because we've had a chance to speak with you before, what I want to do is kind of get a little bit of an update. So since that first payout, since that first interview, what has been going on with you in terms of your trading, in terms of your growth and development? What have you experienced since we last spoke?
All right. I think that my biggest growth has been in terms of scaling, account scaling, and
Mm-hmm.
how I can go, how I need to trust the process instead of rushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to, and basically not get too excited when
Right.
I'm having a winning streak, not get too depressed when I'm having a losing streak. And apart from this, I have also learned a lot about psychology, which was one of my weakest points at that time. Even though I was disciplined, there were times where I would just cut my profit short because I would be too afraid that it might reverse on me, and that did put me back a lot at certain times because it did mess up my risk to reward
Sure.
during certain times. And overall, I'm still using the same concepts, which were ICT concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the main thing which I have progressed over. And accounts, like I mentioned before, account sizing, I went from having 125K account to 325Ks in December.
Mm-hmm.
Traded them for, I lowered my risk to reward in December because of the market conditions, went for 1:1s. Took two payouts in January, sorry, one payout in January and one in February.
Mm-hmm.
And then February was the month where I had a lot of trouble understanding price itself. Ended up losing three of my accounts, but I had the payouts, so I bought a couple more challenges.
Sure.
And this is where I had a new approach to the challenges. Now, since I already had made some money, and I have understood from my mistakes in December because, as I mentioned before, after getting my payout, I did what everyone does: buy bunch of challenges. I bought 20 accounts at once,
Right.
um, copy traded them, and I lost it in a single day. That was just me being. That was lack of discipline and not and seeing the huge numbers on my screen.
Right.
As on a single account, the max profit I had seen was $500, and now I was trading close to 20 e-mini contracts, and it was just too hard for me to understand what's going on.
Right.
I pushed myself too hard, so I decided, all right. And the good thing was Apex was again having a 90% off right after my payout,
Right.
so I got out very cheap. It was negligible at that point. I'm very happy about that.
But a good lesson,
Uh,
right?
I, yeah, it was good, amazing that because I got my payout. I bought two accounts,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna trade them. And the next day I wake up, Apex announces a 90% off.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I need to utilize this. Yeah, that was a very good gift from you guys.
Well, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And
So,
then
so
I went, yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, it was just that. Then after blowing them up in one day, I realized this is not going to work. I need to treat. I'm still not uh, at that point where I can not take challenges
Mm-hmm.
seriously, or go aggressive on them. December, I traded three accounts, copy traded them, evals,
Mm-hmm.
passed them all. And I think I did mention in my last interview that I was about to take one more payout out.
Mm-hmm.
I had the money. I was above the profit
Okay.
limit. I was above the trading threshold. I had the base, but the greed got me. I was like, just let me make $500 more, so I have a good $1,000 buffer when I take out the money, and I blew the account. So I was too excited after, once my payout got approved and it hit my bank.
Right.
I did get too confident with my trading.
Look, these are all issues that we all face, we all experience. I've heard the same story over and over and over again, and so clearly, as we've fast forwarded a few months, you've obviously taken a few more payouts since then,
Yeah.
and you're kind of back in the swing of things and the consistency of moving things in the right direction. So you mentioned the psychology, you mentioned the fear, exiting your trades too early, being a little too overconfident. So some of that psychological work. So have you done anything specific to address some of these mental game issues, or have you just sort of battled through it?
I would say I started exercising more regularly along with meditation,
Hmm.
something which I never did.
Hmm.
And I became more calm as a person that at this point, yeah, I do not really get angry at people, which was a huge issue for me because I
Sure.
realized that if I cannot control my emotions, uh, the rest of the day, I won't be able to control them when I'm in the markets.
Right.
And that, yeah, that opened the and books. I started reading philosophy a lot again.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
So of course,
that was
most
something
people
which,
just go straight to the trading books. You went to the philosophy books. First of all, I love that. I think there's so much wisdom that we forget that if it doesn't say trading on the cover of the book, it might not help with trading. You know, so
exactly, yeah.
so obviously this is something that's it's found its way into your routine. So what has that done to your mindset when you're in the charts and you're having a bad day?
Once I started reading a bit of philosophy, specifically the Bhagavad Gita, which
Hmm.
is in Hinduism, I wouldn't say a holy text, but it's one of the things which every Hindu reads.
Hmm.
And apart from that, I did follow up, of course, Stoicism, which is the most common one for traders.
Hmm.
That was very helpful. Then I just made a plan in my head that I'm only three trades away from a payout on every account. In the sense that if I risk 1% for 1:2, and I make 6% over a series of three trades, I can easily get a payout.
Hmm.
And if I have a hit rate of let's say just 50%, I need to make six good trades with a just 50% hit rate. I will get to my target.
Hmm.
And that aligned perfectly with the idea that Apex has 10 trading days
Hmm.
minimum, out of which I can flip two. So I get 8 days where I have to trade. Six of them I know that I'm going to do well. Out of those two, if I have hit my target, I will cut my risk.
Hmm.
And that made my life much easier. So once December started, I traded the evals very carefully because
Hmm.
now I wanted to build discipline back again.
Right.
I passed them by the end of the month. January, I start with 1:1 because of the market conditions. By 15th of January, I had the money to request money out of two of my accounts.
Hmm.
Uh, I took out $900 from one account and 600 from the other one, but that one I took out in February because I
Right.
wanted to build it a little more. At this point, I had $1,500 again, and once again, since I'm in India, that is again a huge sum of money,
Sure.
enough
Right.
for yeah. And that is where I got cocky because in January I just had one losing trade and a 15 win streak and one single loss. So
Wow.
I have figured it out. I got cocky. February starts, my accounts were above profit limits. I had money in them. I lost them in 1 week. I was a little bit sad, but then I realized, okay, I have the money.
Hmm.
I get the money, and now the decision which I made was uh, instead of spending too much time on challenges,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go aggressive on them,
Hmm.
but not gamble.
Sure.
What this basically meant is I will wait for basically it meant was I will wait for my setup.
Hmm.
If it's a A plus setup, I'll risk 3% for 1:2. I hit my target, I'm done with the account,
Right.
and that worked out perfectly. I think I must have bought seven challenges and I passed three of them. That was enough for me. That hit rate with challenges was good because I was maintaining a very good hit rate with my PE accounts.
Hmm.
Uh, I think there only has been one PE account which I blew without getting a payout on. That was a very good thing. And now in my current position, for example, I got my payout. I bought eight 100K challenges,
Hmm.
and again, I only plan to pass four of them because I know my hit rate is 50. I only need four good trades to pass for each account. I'll end
Sure.
up passing four, and that is good enough. But again, I don't advise everyone to do this. Since I have the buffer,
Hmm.
accounts are cheap. 80% sale is going on right now. 1 day pass is on. So this is a
Right.
perfect opportunity to utilize upon.
Well, and I think that's a great point. Everybody's going to have a different set of parameters that work for them.
Right.
Just because something works for you doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for somebody else, and vice versa. So it sounds like you've got a pretty good handle on what's working for you, what situation, what setups are ultimately going to be in your best favor. And I think that's part of that learning curve, part of that process, because we can all learn how to make good trades. but it's more than that. It's about learning how to make good trades and how to make good decisions for you. That is a lot more of a subjective sort of question. And so as you've gone through this process, it sounds like you're starting to get a better handle on that. So I'm excited to see what happens from here. I mean, as we move forward with everything that you've learned in the last few months, with the ups, with the downs, with all of the dynamics that have really been a part of your world, a part of your trading world, I'm really, really excited to see what comes next. Now, again, I'd love to catch back up with you here in a few months and see how everything's coming along then, because I think based on what the work that you've done, that the trajectory might start to increase and grow from there. So I'm just looking forward to catching that catching that update and seeing how
Right.
everything's going from there.
Right. And apart from this, yeah, Apex has been a great experience. And I completely forgot about this. In January, I started posting my page online,
Uh-huh.
uh, just for to see what will happen.
Sure.
And in India, it blew up. I got decent views, and I introduced a lot of Indian traders who had no clue that these firms exist.
Hmm.
And I think that has been a very good thing for the Indian trading community as a whole. Because most of them have been trading their own capital, and as discussed in the last session, that trading your own capital is too carries too much risk, and you
That's
will
different.
not
Yeah.
make a lot of money from it.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was really amazing. And yeah, and that has made me more accountable on my PAs. That I cannot be the one, blowing up PAs just to make it to a payout, because that is not the proper way to trade, and I can't replicate it on a live account.
Sure. Sure. Well, I'm so glad to see the progression and obviously seeing these things start to really reap some benefits for you. I'm excited to see what comes next for you as we continue down this road. I can't wait to see what happens a few more months down the road and see where you are then.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Sahil, thanks for hanging out with us today. I know it's late in your time. We went through this last time. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you staying up and hanging out till we were able to get connected on here. And again, I think just great stuff for the trading community and just valuable, obviously, insight for yourself as well as for others. So thanks for sharing that with us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah. See you soon.
All
Thank you
right.
for having me.